What's the best training split for calisthenics? The answer is it depends. Most of this will come down to what goals you're specifically training for and what would be best suited for you to actually accomplish those goals. So, I'm going to break down what I've done historically for my training, as well as some other training splits that might or might not come into my training fold depending on how I change up my goals. So, let's break it down. Now, the first thing you could do is obviously just have your goal and go online and either purchase or follow a YouTube tutorial on what to do to achieve that goal. For example, if you wanted to learn the handstand, there might be a YouTube tutorial or a website that has a course on how to master a handstand in 30 days that you could purchase and go from there. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it could help you, then go for it. When I was first starting off, I would do a pre purchase program for P90X, P90X2, and Body Beast that was just used for me to get general fitness. And honestly, it was pretty important. I was doing a chest and back day that was so many push ups and pull ups that I would get sick the first time I was trying to do it. And that honestly was what built up my capacity for calisthenics moves. As much as I love doing bicep curls on the arms days, I was definitely getting more proficient at doing things like pull ups, which then transitioned to calisthenics later. So if you want to purchase a program, it's okay as long as it's within your budget, and, there may be free resources out there that you can leverage, such as YouTube or this channel, to be able to get towards your goals anyway. So, when it comes to finding the best training split for you, you have to think about your goal in one of three different categories. The first is going to be, is your goal health related, where you're just trying to build up some general fitness for health and longevity long term? Or are you trying to go for something more aesthetically pleasing by doing more bodybuilding motions and just trying to be more confident in your body? And the last would be focusing more on a specific goal or sport. Think about things like doing handstands, one arm pull ups, or training specifically to be better at soccer or tennis. These three different categories are all going to have targeted different approaches that may or may not be better for your particular situation. So, when it comes to using a calisthenics split to train for something like health and longevity, I'd like to think back about the times I was doing P90X and first starting out. Yes, it's more of a hybrid program where I was doing, calisthenics moves mixed in with dumbbell type movements. But I liked the aspects where you'd have a pretty hard day followed by maybe an easier day, or a hard day, but it targeted a completely different training domain. So if you want to build a program maybe without purchasing it, I would like to look towards things where it's maybe a total body workout where you're able to go and do push-ups, pull-ups, legs, etc. Or doing things maybe like upper lower where you rotate between doing a upper body pushing and pulling day followed by a leg day the next day, and then adding in rest as needed so you can go and enjoy the rest of your life. You don't need to overdo it necessarily when you're focusing on longevity. The total amount of hours you need doing strength training and cardio for most people is not as high as you think. But just being able to have those solid workouts, you can go in and spend anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes and get that heart rate up and start building some strength is pretty important. So for me, if you don't want to purchase a program, I would gravitate more towards total body and maybe an upper lower split. So, when it comes to building muscle with a calisthenics program, I found that for me, the best training split was doing a push pull leg split. And the main reason I loved this was because you would focus on that one type of movement pattern. So, for me, it would be like doing handstand push ups and regular push ups on one day, and those muscles will become extremely fatigued and need rest. But you'll have other muscle groups that are still fine and ready to go. So, for me, I would move into a leg day, for instance, and that would give my upper body pushing muscles some time to recover. And then by the time it's been 3 to 4 days, those upper body pushing muscles are ready to go again, and you can give all of your effort towards making them grow. And I found that I was able to get a really strong and solid physique by following this kind of repetition. You could also do a traditional, maybe even bro split, or doing your upper lower splits to get a similar effect. But I found that having a specific day targeted towards those specific muscles gives me the most bang for your buck. You could also do other training programs like Body Beast or P90X to get into really good shape, or anything else that uses those dumbbells to hit muscle groups that might not be calisthenics only. But for me, if I had to recommend just one to get absolutely jacked when it comes to calisthenics, I would do something that is more in the push pull leg focus. So when we come to the last category, and that's training for a particular sport or for training for a particular goal, this is where the most variety is going to happen because each goal is going to have different demands. So let's look at some things that I've done historically and what training programs have worked best for those. So, the first skill we can look at is the one arm pull up. This is one of those movement patterns that requires a lot of strength and is physically demanding on your body. So, for me, I enjoyed doing an iteration of a push pull leg split with an upper lower split. So, how I structure this was having a individual pull day first, but then going into a leg day, followed by a push day, and then a recovery or maybe light cardio day on the fourth day. So for me, I enjoyed doing this because it put all of your effort into that pulling movement. But by the time I was done with it, my upper body was pretty trashed because you do activate a bit of your triceps and squeezing your chest. So I wanted to give those muscles also some additional rest. So I would go and do legs after, and then push, and then recovery of some kind. So for me, when I was doing the one arm pull up, it needed to be prioritized as the freshest movement at the start of the week, and then from there would be able to maintain the rest of my physique and give that some attention, but then having those in maybe a slightly more fatigued state, and then making sure that I had that good recovery day to rest up before I could go back to pushing my one arm pull up. Now, on the flip side, there's skills like the handstand. For me, I found that I was doing the handstand as part of this pull, legs, push, rest kind of cycle, but I would also start adding those in every day in the morning. So you could also say that this was like an everyday type of split. And the main focus is this is because the handstand is not an overly physically demanding skill. Maybe while you're starting out, or if you don't have as much shoulder strength, it may be, but for those that have a good amount of shoulder strength and are just trying to focus on actually achieving a handstand and getting into form, then you could train this every single day. Go and do it first thing in the morning for a couple of sets. And this just gets your body used to being upside down. It's more of a skill than a strength demand on your body. So having more days specifically training this movement was important. So even though, yes, I would do it on my push days, I would also do it every day, at least in a lighter capacity in the morning. So if you have those movement patterns that maybe aren't as brutal on your body that you need to prioritize after a full recovery day and having multiple days of not doing that type of movement, you could have those lighter skills like the handstand that you can do every single day in maybe a lighter capacity. So you're able to get up and do the rest of your workouts, but also to maintain and kind of get those neural patterns in your brain ready to go and kick up and get into a handstand. Ultimately, though, I think for me overall, my favorite overall training split has been the pull legs push rest cycle that I've been doing. But ultimately, it really depends on the goals that you're training towards. So, what I recommend is sitting down, identifying what your particular goal is that you're going to achieve, how physically demanding it is, how frequently you need to do it to attain a particular skill. Do you need to focus more on conditioning where going every single day is important? Or do you need to have that longer rest in between to let those muscles recuperate? And from there, pick and adjust your programming as needed. Thanks everyone for watching. Please comment down below what your favorite training split is and any feedback you may have for going and getting the best training split possible. And remember to like the video if you did enjoy the content and to subscribe to the channel for future videos. Have a good one, everyone.